Hi there everyone, it's Isaac here. Welcome back to Sports Addict. It's been a couple of weeks since I posted, but I've come up with another idea for a video. I'm going to be doing my Premier League predictions for the upcoming season. I'll look to post a video towards the back end of the season with these predictions, see what I got right, what I got wrong, see what I got in the right places kind of thing. I'm also going to talk about why I think. I'm not just going to say this is what I think, I'm going to say why. So I'm going to talk about who I think is going to flop in terms of who's transferred, who in terms of who's transferred, who I think is going to do the best, who's going to be top scorer, top assister, clean sheets, young player of the season, and then I'm going to go through the table from bottom up. So obviously I'll come to visit this come the end of the season. So once the season's finished and that's all done, I will talk about what I got right. I'm also going to talk about Champions League, Europa League and Conference League, who I think is going to win those. Obviously, I might talk about domestic competitions, but they're really more difficult to predict because it does just come down to those moments. In different leagues, I'm just going to talk about the Prem mainly. I'll touch on domestic competitions, but I'm not going to focus solely on those. So anyway, before we get into the table, which I'll leave to last, who I think is going to flop, a couple here that are definitely ones you wouldn't immediately think of. The reasons I just think these are the personal opinions definitely, but the ones that maybe are difficult to agree with. So the first one I've gone for is Nick Pope. Difficult season with Burnley last season, obviously getting relegated wasn't ideal for him. Yeah, he got relegated with Burnley. He's been sold out. He deserves Premier League football in my opinion. But I think the main driving factor for Nick Pope doing so well was getting that place in the England team. He was flirting with possibly starting at one point because Jordan Pickford wasn't doing so well. But then now Aaron Ramsdale's in the picture, it's going to be a lot more difficult for him to get a starting place in that England setup. And I think at this point he's 28, 29 now, I think, something like. No, he's 30 now. So I think with only 8 appearances for England to his name, I think the possibility of him even getting in the England squad anymore is pushing it. I think he'll probably get a place at the World Cup as third choice because obviously Sam Johnston's stayed in the Championship with West Brom. I think he'll probably get third choice behind Pickford and Ramsdale. I personally would like Ramsdale as starting England keeper. I think he's got a lot to prove, but I think Pickford's always a reliable choice. But yeah, big money move to Newcastle until 2026. So he's got 4 years left on his deal. He'll probably stay those 4 years because he is a good keeper, but I just think with what Newcastle's expectations, they've had a lot of good keepers. They had Martin Dubravka, who's left this season. They had Carl Datlow, who was a brilliant second choice and was often first choice if Dubravka got injured, but I just get the feeling he's not going to do as well as he's done in previous years. Another one I've gone for is Richarlison. Now, this one with Richarlison, I feel like could go either way. It could be an amazing season for him where he does really, really well. Or it could be, I personally think it'd be a flop opinion. The reason I think that is the way Conte plays, he normally plays with the back 3, back 5. It's the same thing, just back 3, back 5 kind of thing. 3 centre-backs, 2 full-backs. And then he likes Kulusevski and Son as his wingers. I feel like Son could maybe tuck into midfield, but I think Son's best position is out on the wing. I don't think Richarlison can play on the wing, and I don't think Kane can. So I think with Tottenham's stance on Kane, Kane has been their most reliable player for many, many years now. He doesn't just get goals, he gets assists. And I think what's with Richarlison is, he's obviously, Everton nearly got relegated. He doesn't score week in, week out, but he was one of Everton's highest goal scorers last season. And I just feel Richarlison's going to be second choice. And I think it's probably a good move for him he'll probably get European football, coming off the bench for Kane in like the 60th, 70th minute, resting Kane a bit. Or if they do get knocked out in the group stage of Champions League, which might happen, he'll probably get Europa League football. He'll play in the domestic competition. He's going to get good first-team football playing under a good manager in a good team. But I just don't think he's going to be the starting striker for a good 2-3 years unless they move Kane on. Because Kane's only, 29? So for Kane, the priority now is play as many games as possible because although he's not old, he's getting into the end of his career now, where he's going to be second choice within 3 or 4 years. And I think this season for Richarlison is going to be a poor one because he's not going to get many games, and next year might be good because he'll be been there a year. It'll be more reliable. Kane might have moved on by that point. Bayern have just sold Lewandowski, and Oliver Kahn, the CEO of Bayern or the sporting director, whatever his role is, has come out and said Kane's a target they're looking at for next year. So if Kane moves on, that season next year would be good for him. But I think with Kane staying this year, I think for Richarlison it's going to be a poor season. Another one I've gone for is Gabriel Azuz. Now this is kind of the opposite of Richarlison really, because for a lot of years, Gabriel Jesus was the second choice behind Aguero. Aguero left last season, and even then, he's not really been a first choice striker because Pep Guardiola's been playing with more of a false nine with his two wingers, and then a De Bruyne or a Phil Foden sitting in the sort of centre forward spot, and making things happen from there. So he's not really been first choice striker. He has played sometimes, but he's not been the out and out striker that he could be. Now at Arsenal, he's going to be first choice striker. He's going to be that man they look forward to get all the goals. With Gabriel Jesus, I don't know, is that pressure going to get to him being first choice striker and having to rely on him to get all the goals? It could be the making of him. He's only 25, 26 at this point. And I think this season, he's 25. This season is going to be really good for him because he could get those goals. But I just personally feel like it's going to be too much for him. I think he's going to really struggle with the first team football, and he's going to not be able to light up the stadium as he was doing at City. Plus at City, it was a better team that could create more chances for him. Whereas at Arsenal, I'm not saying it's a terrible team, but it's definitely not on City's level of chance creation. You know, you got De Bruyne, you got Mahrez, Sterling's obviously gone to Chelsea, but they've just signed Haaland. They've got Julian Alvarez, all these wonderful midfielders and wingers that can create chances for him, where now he's going to Arsenal, where it's maybe not the same calibre of players. And I just think he's not going to thrive. Another one I've gone for, but it's in the back of my mind, I'm telling myself I'm a bit stupid for saying it, but Calvin Phillips. We saw with Jack Grealish last year, he was £100 million move to City from Villa, or 90 million, whatever it was. And he didn't perform as well as everyone thought he was going to do. He didn't do shockingly, but in terms of what people thought he was going to do, he didn't perform to expectations. And Pep dropped him. He didn't drop him completely, but he certainly wasn't playing every week. He favoured Sterling and Mahrez and Foden out on the wing much more than he did Grealish. And I just feel with the level City have got, you know, their midfielders, Fernandinho's obviously moved on, but they've got Rodri, they've got De Bruyne, Phil Foden can play in midfield. All these midfield options. And I just feel with Calvin Phillips, if he doesn't play well, Pep will just drop him and then he's a flop. But like I say, with those four, they're obviously very conscientious, and I feel like with them it can go either way. Definitely, I would say all four of them could have amazing seasons, but I just personally feel like those four would maybe not do so well. The best transfer, I think, is a no-brainer. It's Erling Haaland. He's got a good goal-to-game ratio for Dortmund. He's only 21. He's won 3 championships in Germany. He's got 20 goals in 21 games for Norway. 87 goals in 61 games in the Bundesliga. 61 goals in 66 games for the Bundesliga, an average of a goal every 87 minutes, a goal or assist every 87 minutes in the Bundesliga. That's elite level. That's a goal or assist a game, and that's unheard of these days. You know, you think back to Messi when he did the 90+ goal season. That was unprecedented at the time, and I think there's going to be a drop off. I don't think it's going to be a goal a game. Obviously, I think he's going to get a lot of goals. I definitely think he's going to break the 20 goal mark in just the Premier League alone. But I don't think he's definitely not going to score 40+ goals it's such a different league. But I think he's going to score a lot of goals with the City team just getting better. I think he's going to score a lot of goals and be the best transfer this season. Obviously, there's 6 weeks left. until the first game of the season, and there's a couple of months left till the transfer window closes, so there could have been a bigger transfer at that point. But I just feel Haaland's going to have the best impact and really solve City's striker problem. Top scorer, I've gone for Salah. I feel like this could either be Salah or Haaland. I feel like Haaland could push him, but I just think Salah just signed the new deal. I think Salah's going to get 24 goals like he did last season and get that top scorer again. Top sister, I've gone for De Bruyne. There could have been a lot for this one. I feel like Sterling moving to that Chelsea team could get a lot of assists. There's a lot of people that could. I feel like Bruno could maybe have another good season and get a lot of assists. I feel like there's a plethora of names you could say that would get a lot of assists and push in, but I just think it'll be De Bruyne. Clean sheets, I've gone for Alisson. You know, you could go for Edison at City, you could go for Lloris at Spurs, Aaron Ramsdale at Arsenal. But I feel like Alisson will definitely have the clean sheets. In terms of the table then, this is the big one. So in terms of 20th, I've gone for Fulham. I think, again, like the Haaland being the best transfer, I think Fulham going down is a no-brainer. Fulham in the past years where they've gone up and down and up and down, they've never survived more than one season in the Premier League. They've signed Andreas Pereira from United. They've signed a young lad from Sporting Lisbon out in Portugal. They've got a good manager and they did well in the Championship. I think it's going to be interesting to see Harry Wilson lit up the Championship last season, and I think he'll do well. And I think Mitrovic might score a couple, but it's just like with Teemu Pukki. Teemu Pukki scored loads of goals for Norwich in the Championship, but then didn't even crack 10 in the Premier League. And I think there's going to be another case of that there, where they just go straight back down in last place. I can't seem to get them many wins. I don't think they'll be able to cope with the intensity of the league. 19th, I've gone for Bournemouth. Again, like Fulham, I don't see him lasting long. I see him going straight back down. Sad for Bournemouth and Fulham fans, but that's just how I see it. 17th and 18th, I feel like could go either way. 18th, I've gone for Leeds. I feel like Leeds are maybe just going to run out of steam this season. You know, they've had 2 high-intensity seasons in the Premier League. They narrowly avoided relegation. I think it was on the last day or the second to last game they avoided relegation, which to say they were pushing for top half the season before, 18th, 17th is very low, trying to avoid relegation on the last day. I don't think they should have sacked Bielsa when they did. I think that was a stupid move, but obviously it did pay off in the end. The new manager did manage to get them the wins they needed to survive. But I just think this season they'll run out of steam and they'll go down. 17th again, could be 18th. 17th and 18th, I feel like could go either way. 17th, I've gone for Nottingham Forest. I feel like Nottingham Forest are going to survive by the skin of their teeth, by either a point or by goal difference. I feel like Nottingham Forest are going to get it on the last day and are going to do a lead and survive. 16th, I've gone with Brentford. I feel like Brentford will survive just about. I feel like they'll comfortably survive by about 6 or 7 points. I feel like they've just got that quality into the team to get the wins they need, essentially. 15th, I've gone for Everton. Obviously, they have just lost Richarlison, who was their main striker. They've brought in a couple of people, but no superstar signings that are exciting enough to make me think that they're going to survive. Well, I think they'll survive, but do well. I think 15th is fine for Everton fans. I think just survival is the main thing they want at the minute. The whole club needs a rebuild. I think they've got a brilliant manager in Frank Lampard. I think Chelsea was probably too much for him as a starting manager, and I think Everton will give him the chance to build up a club from the bottom. Whereas with Chelsea, he was going into a ready-made team or an early ready-made team. 14th, I've gone for Brighton and Hove Albion. Brighton, I think they've got that Cucurella from, I think it was Real Betis from Spain. They signed him last year, but he's done really well. I think they'll do all right. They have just lost Yves Bissouma to Tottenham, but I think they'll be fine. Brighton have shown in the past few years that they can get points when they need it and they survive often. They've done really well survival-wise, and I think Brighton will be absolutely fine. I think they'll comfortably get 14th. 13th, I've gone for Crystal Palace. Not really much to say. 12th, I've gone for Newcastle. Now, Newcastle have signed a lot of players, and when the people that took over Newcastle did take over, a lot of people instantly thought that this is going to be the making of Newcastle, and they're going to be back to the glory days where it was Shearer and Kevin Keegan, I think it was the manager, that I will bloody love it, that one. But with Newcastle, I think it's definitely a process. It's going to be a long, lengthy process for Newcastle. I think it's going to be a good 5-6 years before they're pushing for European football. I think within a few seasons they'll be pushing for top half. But I just think for this season, it needs to be focus on survival, keep the club in the Premier League, prove that they're a good side, and 12th is fine for Newcastle at the minute. I think next season, again with more money pumped in and more transfers, they'll be able to elevate themselves to another level and push for top half. Like I say, 5, 6, maybe for 7 years before they start pushing for 7th, which is Conference League. 11th, I've gone for Aston Villa. Not really much to say about Aston Villa. Coutinho's gone back, I think. No, they have signed him permanently, so I think that's a big boost for them. Ollie Watkins did really well last season, but I just think 11th, again, he's modest for Villa. They're not a massive side, but I think Steven Gerrard would be happy with an 11th mid-table finish. I think that's a good enough finish for Villa. 10th, I've gone for Southampton. Again, not really much to say. Southampton are just normally a mid-table side. I think 10th is good. James Ward-Prowse. I would have loved to see James Ward-Prowse go to a big club, but I think being loyal to Southampton is what makes him so likeable. 9th, I've gone for Wolves. I think Wolves had a disappointing season last season, but I think they're going to be back with a vengeance. Losing Diogo Jota a few seasons ago definitely didn't help, and then the whole thing that happened with Raul Jimenez was horrible, and it was a massive hit to them, and you could tell they were definitely feeling it. And then Adama Traore as well went to Barcelona. I'm not sure if he's come back, but if he has, that'll be a big boost. He'll be buzzing on confidence from playing European football and for one of the biggest teams in the world. 8th, I've gone for Leicester. The reason I've gone for Leicester 8th is I think Vardy's getting on a bit. He is still a prolific striker, but I just think they need to think about signing a new striker that can learn from him. Obviously, they've got Patson Daka, but I'm not sure if he can be the man they need him to be. You've got Harvey Barnes and James Maddison, who I think are definitely going to do well in future seasons, but the question is, are they going to stay at Leicester? They've got big ambitions, and they want James Maddison and Harvey Barnes, wants to be in the England team. Harvey Barnes has been in it recently, but he wants to be in it again, and I think that only comes if they go to a big team side. So I think Leicester modest 8th is respectable. 7th, I've gone for West Ham. I think West Ham will probably win the Europa Conference League and get Europa League football, so I don't think a 7th place finish is bad. That would mean they qualify for the Conference League, but I think they'll win it, so I think they'll get Europa League football, which is where they want to be. Obviously, they want Champions League, but I think Europa League is very good for West Ham. You know, they're not a massive side, so I think Europa League football is where they need to be at. 6th, I've gone for Arsenal. Now, for 4th, 5th and 6th, again, it can be so interchangeable, and I've just gone with my gut instinct of what I think is going to happen. 6th, I've gone for Arsenal. I just think Arsenal aren't going to have the legs to go the full length of the season and get the job done. I think they're going to be able to push early doors. I think come Christmas time after the World Cup, which is going to be shown in a lot of teams, but after the World Cup, going into February, March time, after January, I think they're going to struggle. I get the feeling that they're not going to have the legs to go the full length. Now, 5th and 4th are the most changeable for me. I'm debating right now as I'm speaking which I want to say in which order, but I'm just going to go with what I've put down. 5th, I've gone for Tottenham. Now, the reason I've gone for Tottenham is they've shown a lot of times that when a manager starts going badly, they just get rid of him. And I get the feeling with all the money that Daniel Levy's put into Tottenham, if Conte can't get the results, they're going to sack him. And if they sack him and bring in another manager, I think that's going to ruin him. Now for fourth, I've gone with Man United. Now I know you're thinking Man United bias, fourth place, but I think fourth place is fourth or fifth for Man United. And again, for Tottenham, fourth or fifth. It could be interchangeable. Now for Man United, I hope, and I personally think they'll win the Europa League. So maybe fifth would be okay because they'd be in the Champions League anyway. But I don't think that's something we can rely on, just winning the Europa League. For Man United, getting fourth, I think is good. I think we've seen in pre-season, obviously we can't look at the results as Stonewall, but what I've seen in pre-season is a lot more pressing. When Rangnick came in, we thought we were going to see a lot more pressing, and we didn't see that. But with Ten Hag, we've seen it. Also, Ten Hag has been a serial winner at Ajax. It's a different league, I completely get that, but the mass managers we've had, apart from Jose Mourinho, have not been really big winners. I think if we can get De Jong in, I think that'll be a good season and a good signing, sorry. I think De Jong, the hopes kind of dwindled in of signing De Jong. Obviously, he's gone on pre-season with Barca, but that doesn't mean we can't get it sorted after he comes back. But I just get the feeling it's maybe losing a grip and we need to start looking elsewhere at some other signings, some other possibilities. But yeah, I think if we can get De Jong fourth, if we don't get De Jong, I'm going to say fifth. So that'll be my other prediction, and Tottenham will go up to fourth. So if we don't get De Jong, fifth, and we'll see. Third, I've gone for Chelsea. I think Chelsea are going to do well. Thomas Tuchel obviously is a very good manager. And I think Chelsea will do well this season. Not much more to say, to be honest. I think Lukaku going might be a good thing because obviously he had the good start, but he kind of fell off towards the back end of the season. Second, I've gone for Liverpool, and first, champions Man City. So Liverpool second. I just think City signing Haaland is what's going to win it for him. He's guaranteed to score 15, 20 goals. And I think with Liverpool, Darwin Núñez is obviously going to be a very good striker, but is he going to be starting week in, week out? You know, he's very young. He's not as proven. They've got a plethora of options. Do you drop? I don't think Firmino plays anymore. You know, you've got Salah and Diaz. Does Diogo Jota play? Does Darwin Núñez play? Who plays in that striker? Because either one of those you could make a good argument for starting, but you can only start one of them. Then if you start Diogo Jota and you start him on the left, that means you're dropping Diaz. So they've got a real striker. They've got a real issue there if they play. I personally think they'll play Diaz because of just how much they've spent on him down the centre. But I think with what City have got squad wise and what they keep on signing, they've signed a new backup striker for like 25 million, and they've signed Calvin Phillips and Haaland and Julian Alvarez, and they probably could sign a few more this season if they wanted to. And I just think Man City will have that push to go the full length of the season. I don't think it will be close. I think it will be a 5 or 6 point gap. It has been a couple of points in the past few seasons, but I think it'll be a couple of win gap between the two. And this is part of the reason. I was having a debate with a friend the other day about who I think will leave first, Pep or Klopp. And I personally think Klopp will leave first, just because Klopp has such a good side and he can get to Champions League finals and he can win domestic competitions. But what he wants to be is he wants to be dominant in the main domestic league. And that's what he hasn't been. Now, the reason I think he's going to leave is because he's got such a good side and he's got the financial backing, but it's just not enough with the domination that City have shown in the past few seasons. No matter what he does, apart from the season they did win it, no matter what he does, City are always right behind him doing just that little bit better in the domestic league. And I think that's going to wind him up and he's going to say, I'll go somewhere where I'm going to be dominant. And I just personally think he'll go first before Pep does. I don't think it'll be for a good few years, but Klopp has come out more and said he doesn't want to be there forever, and Pep hasn't said that much. But I just think Klopp will get annoyed at the fact that he can't guarantee trophies, even though he's got such an insane squad. I don't think they'll sack him. I think he'll leave. Okay, so Conference League. West Ham, I think, will win it. I don't see any other teams doing that well in the Conference League, but I think West Ham will win it. Europa League, obviously Arsenal and Man United are in it. I think one of those two will make it to the final. I personally hope it's Man United, but it could be Arsenal as well. I think it'll be United in the final just because Ronaldo is looking like he's going to stay at this point because of a lot of clubs have come out and said that they're not interested in him, so his options are dwindling where he needs to go. Obviously Lewandowski's gone, so it could be an option that he goes to Bayern, but Bayern have said then Carl's come out and said they're not interested, but that opinion could change now Lewandowski has fully gone. I think the other team in the final could be a German side like Frankfurt. You know, they've done well. They got to the final and won it last season. It could be, I think, Villarreal or someone like that could maybe make it to the final. I could see maybe a club that drops down from the Champions League. Inter Milan could drop down again like they did a couple of seasons ago. They might make it to the final. I personally think, I hope United will win it, but there's always that element of doubt and I don't want to commit to that. So I think there won't be an English winner. I think it will be a Spanish or a German winner. Champions League, I'm going to go for... there's a lot of options. I think Liverpool could make it to the final again. I don't think City will make it to the final. I think City will get knocked out in the semis again. I could see PSG getting to the final again. Obviously, Mbappe's on the £1 million a week salary, and I could see them getting to the final again. I could see Real Madrid getting to the final again, Bayern getting to the final again. I'd probably commit to those four getting to the final: Madrid, Liverpool, PSG, or Bayern getting to the final. I think, and out of those four, I'm gonna say Bayern Munich are gonna win it. That's my prediction. So we'll come back in 10 months' time, come May, after all this is done, and oh, one more thing, World Cup. We'll throw in the World Cup winner. The World Cup winner is gonna be Argentina. Argentina are gonna win the World Cup. Lionel Messi is gonna win his World Cup. Portugal will get knocked out in the quarterfinals. Those are my predictions for the upcoming 22-23 season. Do drop your predictions down below. Anything you want me to talk about, any videos, ideas you can think of, do drop them down below and I'll have a look and I might do them. See you in a bit.